Oh, yes, yes.
Greetings to everyone. It's a pleasure to have you join us for the 210th session of CENTA's webinar series for teachers. Today's webinar will uncover the fascinating world of all about procrastination. Our facilitator for this insightful session is Miss Navpreet Brar. Let's give a warm welcome to Miss Navpreet Brar, a highly accomplished individual. She holds master's degrees in both education and chemistry. With a remarkable 14-year tenure in education, she has served as a science teacher across grades 3 to 10 in various esteemed institutions. Her contributions extend as a STEM instructor at Manav Rachna International School, Mohali, and as a content developer within the academic excellence team at Manav Rachna University, Faridabad. Ms. Brar's commitment extends beyond the classroom as she actively engages in mentoring and training programs across different branches of Manav Rachna schools. She is also a prolific blogger with her work featured on babushai.com, a prominent online news portal covering Himachal, Punjab, and Haryana. Her passions encompass diverse realms including painting, singing, and dancing. Ms. Brar's latest initiative, It's Fun to Teach on Instagram, serves as a platform for educators to discuss teaching strategies, crucial research in education, and motivational facets of the profession. A fitness enthusiast, she is dedicated to maintaining an active lifestyle. Welcome, Ms. Brar. Your rich expertise and diverse pursuits are truly inspiring. Before I pass the baton to our esteemed facilitator, I'd like to kindly notify all our dedicated teachers that participation certificates will be awarded for this session. We kindly request that you take a moment to complete the feedback form that will be provided at the end of today's session. Your insights are greatly valued and contribute to our continuous improvement. Over to you, Ms. Brad.
Thank you so much, Harsha. Thank you so much, Shireen, for giving such a wonderful introduction of mine. And I welcome all my dear friends and fellow beings here on board today. And because today we are going to tread through a beautiful topic and also a very important topic which concerns a lot in our day to day lives as educators, and it is related to our children because in our day to day lives we experience that there is always a percentage of children in every grade where we struggle to make them complete their assignments, to make them complete their work, to make them just come at par with all other students in the classroom. So I would not say that procrastination or the habit of delaying was not existing earlier. But I want to mention here, especially the time of COVID, when this particular thing took a leap. So that was a very unprecedented situation which all over the world, all of us had to face. But every situation has its own pros and cons. Similarly, in COVID also, the same thing happened. No doubt, the COVID times gave us a lot of exposure to internet and all the other things that we can actually explore through internet. We could actually keep our education system going through internet. If it would not have been there, our education system would have fallen aback. But thanks to the online portals, thanks to internet, thanks to technology, that we were able to reach remotest of areas, and we could bring children to that level so that they don't miss out anything in that times of COVID. But along with that, what happened was that our children, they actually got very much distant from what we call is our physical activities, our physical processing, I would say. Like most of the times children were on their tabs, most of the times they had to be on their phones or on their laptops to complete their assignments, to attend classes. But we all must acknowledge that along with what we are doing sitting on screen, the an active lifestyle which children used to have in their normal school times came to a halt, and it was only the screen and the child sitting for 5 to 6 hours attending classes. So it's very much obvious that children wanted to distract themselves, but somehow this distraction led to a lot of lagging behind of what they were supposed to focus on. And this problem of procrastination started increasing. It's not that it's only the problem with children, it happens with us also as adults. So before I dig deep into that, what we should guide our children with to overcome this problem and focus on their day to day assignments and their study skills, I would want to ask you all this question, that is, what kind of tasks do you procrastinate? And once you mention that in the chat box, I would also like you to mention the reason for that. You can mention one or two things which you usually find yourself procrastinating. Like I also have one or two things. I would mention it once you guys answer me. Harsha, I would like you to read out if there are answers.
Definitely, ma'am.
Thank you. Yes, my question is, those who are joining now, my question is on the screen, that is, what kind of tasks do you procrastinate the most and why?
Yes, ma'am. There are few teachers there answering, ma'am. Health related, such as exercising,
Hmm.
interaction more with the students.
Hmm.
Yes, ma'am. We
Right.
need to give a minute's time for them to type in their
Yeah, yeah.
responses.
Yeah,
Chat
that's
box.
fine. That's fine. They can take 2 minutes. I don't have a problem here.
Sure, sure, sure. Interacting, giving, caring.
I would want you to be more specific. Like if I guess Shavi Gupta is saying interacting and giving caring. So in what sense? And please cite a reason, if you have a valid reason for that, and you think that because of this thing I procrastinate this. Okay, most of the people are saying self care, health related, assignments wait until last moment, mental activity, yoga and motivation sessions. All right, all right. Okay, so I would also want to ask you the reason. If I ask you that why you procrastinate your health issues, May I have one good reason for that, that why you procrastinate your healthcare? No reasons? Okay, so I'll give you the reason. The reason is that we guys, we all are also too busy working on all the outer things, right? Which are happening around us. That is, we are very much busy taking care of our devices, taking care of the house, taking care of job. But when it comes to health, we get so tired by the evening, I can't do anything anymore. Am I right? Yes. One of them is saying, Nisha is saying, maybe we are not giving them priority. Yes, you are not prioritizing your health over other things. Okay. Lack of motivation. Yes, definitely. This is also one of the factor. There is lack of motivation to most of us. We feel that there should be somebody or something we should look up to do that, right? Everybody like to have a reward. Everybody like to have incentives for little acts of achievement that we do. Because of fear of something unwanted, okay, all these things lie secondary. Thank you so much, all of you, for answering this question, because see, it is very important. See, before we guide our children, before we guide our students what to do, it is very much important that we self reflect on ourselves. If I am not doing something, I am no one to make you people or guide you people to do something. The same holds true for children as well. If I am standing in a classroom and if I am giving them a motivational lecture, or maybe suppose I'm talking them on taking care of their health only, if I am not serious about my health, if I have not experienced it myself, how am I in a position to guide my children to do the same? Right? So it's very important to self reflect upon ourselves, and as an educator, it becomes our topmost priority to reflect, to self reflect, to work on things which we want our children to work on. Until and unless you are experienced, you cannot give that kind of experiential learning to your children. Right? So, this is very important. Thank you so much, everybody, for answering. Moving on. So, let's define procrastination. I'm sure most of you know the answer, but just to state here, procrastination is any action of postponing or delaying something despite knowing that it may have bad consequences. Children also do the same. We also do the same. We know that if we are not taking care of our health, if we are not completing our targets on time, if we are not completing any assignment on time, it is going to create a rush for us. And the same thing child also knows, that if I am not able to complete this homework today, my teacher will be scolding me. Or if I'm not able to complete this assignment by this date, my marks will not be, I will not be awarded with marks. They know that. But something is there which keeps them from doing their work on time. So we are going to look out for those reasons, and then how we can guide them to overcome these little hiccups that they have to work on their work, to work on their assignments or to complete their tasks on time, right? So before we jump into this, so let me ask you again, why do you think that students procrastinate their work? Let's stick and come down to our teaching learning practices that we do daily and the problems that we face with our children. So please let me know in pointers, just one word will be enough, that why do you think that children procrastinate or they delay their work? You must have observed, right? Everybody is an educator here, so you must have observed in your day to day classrooms that there is a pattern in any child, which you must have observed, that why she or he procrastinates, or anything that you want to give it a reason. So please mention that what do you think is the major reason, general reason that children procrastinate? Harsha, please help me read out some comments.
Sure, ma'am. Lack of interest. Students are bored, not challenged.
Very right. Very right.
Laziness.
Very right.
Hours to write. Hours
Okay.
to write. Yeah.
Yeah, I was to writing. Okay.
Yeah, Chavi ma'am says to ready themselves stress-free work from which which will work for them a long time. No
Hmm.
appreciation.
Hmm.
They don't want to compromise on playtime.
Yes, yes, yes.
Some do
Very
not
right.
want to
Very right.
write, but they study.
Right. Yes, yes. So very, very
They are
right. You
over.
guys are on. Yes, very right.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
yes. Thank you so much, Harsha. So yes, you guys, all of you are on track. We all know the reason, right? So now again, it's very good that we know the reason. But then, how much are we working on that? So what are the major reasons? I'm just going to point it to all of you that one is why. First one is, again, many of you mentioned lack of interest. Yes, very rightly said. Students may not like every subject, or maybe any topic they don't like, or maybe the kind of assigned work they don't like. Lack of interest is one of the factors. Second is the difficulty level of the assigned task. Sometimes what we do is, like, we have 30 children in a class or 25 kids in a class. We feel that this assignment is necessary for all, but that is our assumption, right? That is our assumption that every child should be able to do this. But what if some children are not able to do that? What are we doing to make those children complete that work? Because every child in our class is different, every child has a different pace of working, every child has a different level of understanding things. So if I say that 10 children out of my class are very fast, 5 are average, and the other 10 are slow, so it is my responsibility that how am I amending that assigned task for them so that they are also able to keep a pace with other children, right? So yes, the second level is the difficulty level of the assigned task. Next is lack of concentration. So lack of concentration occurs only when children have so many other options, but only instead of only doing their tasks, right? When they have so many other distractions to look at instead of just doing their focused task. So that leads to lack of concentration, multiple distractions. So this point continues. Then lengthy projects to be made. When there is a lot of, there is not enough challenge, but it is a monotonous task, it is a lengthy assignment where either mostly they have to write or mostly they just have to do one kind of thing again and again. They feel very much bored and they don't like to do that. So this is what these kind of things they procrastinate. So it's very important that before we come to a solution of any problem, we all know that this is the problem that exists with our children and with us also in some cases as adults. But what our important thing is, first thing is, as the scientific method says, the first thing is make an observation. Observe what your children are lacking in, why they are lacking in, right? And then just try to identify their problem areas. So we identify their problem areas. Then the third step is we work on their problem areas. And then we test them that what solution you have found for them, is that solution working or not, right? And once you have found that out, you may fail in that. The child may not come up to the mark what you decided for them. So you may have to change your strategy again. So very important thing in this particular section, what we have done is identification, that what are the factors which lead students to procrastinate their work, right? Thank you so much for all of my fellow educators who are joining in here. Yes, some of you are saying more time they spend in their gadgets, then laziness, lack of interest, lack of motivation, taking things for granted. Very rightly said, they take everything for granted. Nowadays, like if I talk about the school environment also, the school environments have also gone very, I would say, soft for children. I mean, they feel that they can do anything, anywhere, anytime, so that has also led to a bit of lack of regulation in them. That is what I feel. But to regulate environment, again, the teacher training is more required than we tame our children, because children are after all children. We have to put them into that kind of regulated environment without any corporal punishment or without getting strict with them. So for that, we have to build in strategies. We have to train ourselves in such a way that we are able to regulate our children in a positive direction, instead of becoming strict with them, right? So thank you so much. Yes, after COVID, kids lost interest in writing. Very rightly said, they actually lost, and so many children faced a lot of problems after COVID when they had to go back to school. I have observed in my own teaching time, that when I was teaching children, that after COVID, when they came back, the handwriting went totally haphazard. The children, those who used to write very nicely, they used to maintain their notebook so well, nothing. I remember a 10th standard student in my class. He was not able to write a one sentence properly and with a good speed. Can you imagine? This was the effect of that particular time on children. A 10th grade student was not able to write one complete sentence in proper handwriting. This is how much they missed on this aspect. All right. Now, a bit of biology, but I'm not going to go very deep into it. I just wanted to mention here that what actually happens in our brain when we procrastinate. So, how does our brain perceive this action of procrastination? Now, what happens is when students or adults, because we are specifically targeting students in this session, so I am mentioning students here, but it happens with us also as adults. When students procrastinate, it activates the feelings of pain in the insular cortex. I will show you in the diagram where is insular cortex located in your brain. And avoidance of that work acts like a charm, and that at that moment of pain for students or for adults who procrastinate, right? So what happens is, in this particular area of your brain that is called insular cortex, it activates the pain signals looking at that particular assigned task which you are actually procrastinating. So when you procrastinate that, it, like when you delay it, that I'll do it tomorrow or day after tomorrow and not today, that gives you a bit of relaxation, mental relaxation. So what this what happens biologically in our brain when we procrastinate. So where is insular cortex related? So it is this fissure, if you can see on my screen, it is this fissure separating the frontal lobe and the temporal lobe where the insular cortex is located, right? So it is a part of the brain that processes pain signals. So this happens biologically when students procrastinate. They find charm in delaying the task. It is perceived as a relaxation in their mind when they delay that task instead of doing it on that very moment. Now, how can we help students overcome this problem? Can you please suggest me few options that we can take care of when we want to help our children to overcome this problem of procrastination? I would love to have your views and your solutions, which you must have thought of or you practice with them. Anybody who has practiced anything with their students, uh, I mean, to help them to overcome this problem, and that has actually borne some results for them by motivating them. Okay. short achievable goals, right? Engaging activities, right? Giving easy tasks and projects, playway method of teaching. Harsha, I'm sorry. Actually, I was able to do it as you suggested me on my other device, so I'm reading it. I hope that's fine. Okay, giving them a fixed day to complete the work. Appreciation. Very rightly said. Sai Krishna says, create meaningful project for students. Very, very good, very good. Giving short goals and regular follow-up. Kamala Rekha says, Bindu Sri says, how to help them to involve, to have interest in studies, to write. Okay, this is your question, ma'am. I'll be coming back to your question. Rewards for on time submission, very good. Writing their name on shouting out board, okay. Giving activity with action. Sai Krishna says minor task with break. Parvinder Singh says short topics. Learning must be fun. Teaching them to set goals. More practice. Perfect. So wonderful. Yes, all of you, again, you all know that what all things we need to do. But again, sometimes what happens in our busy schedules, in our day to day busy schedules in schools, I have been a teacher for the last 14, 15 years, and I know what a hustle it is there when we work in a school. At one time, it's not only that we are taking care of one task, but we have to be multitasker. We have to do multiple things in that particular time frame. So sometimes what happens is that we may not be able to uh, I mean, move up to that level, or we may not be able to accomplish what we thought of doing with our children on that particular day or in that period of time. So, what is the solution? The first thing that what we need to do is, as somebody wrote, repeated practice. So, what we should be doing is we should try and we should work towards making our students more accountable for their own work, because you are one and there are 30 children in your class. How will you run after every single child to make them work on time? It's not possible. If we practically think about it, it's not possible. So, but what is possible? The possibility lies in making our students more accountable to complete their work on time. So, how are we going to do it? So, for that, you need to allot, or you need to devote at least 3 to 4 minutes of your sessions with them, where you are able to guide them with those 3 to 4 repeated steps, which I'm going to cover in the next 2 slides, which will help them bear in their mind that yes, this is what I have to do stepwise, so that my work doesn't delay for the next time. So, dear friends, please work on your students to make them more accountable for their own studies and their own work. Because be a guide to them, be a facilitator to them, be a mentor to them. But please do not try to be them, because what they will achieve should be their own efforts, should be out of their own efforts, not out of your efforts. We are here to guide them, facilitate them, and mentor them. Let them become accountable for their own mistakes and their own achievements. I hope I'm making sense to everybody here. Please let me know if I'm making sense till this time. You can type in the chat if it is going okay till now. Is the session, are you feeling the session is helpful? All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, because that also boosts me that I am going on the right track, you know. Thank you so much for that. Okay. So, how can we help our students overcome this problem? So, there is a stepwise guide. That guide means let's guide our children to follow these steps. So, I'll take you through each step one by one. First is set clear, achievable, realistic goals. Now, usually we hear the term goal as like something life goal, a bigger goal. That bigger goal can be broken into smaller goals, as some of you said, that break the goals into smaller steps. So, yes, set clear, achievable, something that can be achieved, and realistic. Guide them to set their targets such that they are able to do that much of the work in the given time frame on a given day. Let them set their own, let them divide their work on their own and set their own goals, goal 1, goal 2, goal 3, goal 4, right? And let them work towards them, and ask them that be sure that whatever goal 1 you have set, the smallest goal that you have set for yourself, you are able to achieve that in that given particular time. Prioritize your tasks. You need to guide your children to prioritize, for which we are covering two techniques in the coming two slides. Use unpacking technique. It's again more or less dividing your task, a bigger task, into smaller chunks. That is also known as unpacking. Just a cool term to use. Then set time limits. Very important. If you will not set time limits for your given task, if you will say that, okay, I have to complete one page in one day, then you don't have any time limit. I mean, one day can be which hour of the day or which time of the day you're talking about. So be very specific. Ask them that, guide yourself or determine yourself to complete that particular task within a given time, set time limit, not a vague time limit. Then next is avoid distractions. Guide your children that the time when you sit down to complete your targeted goal or your given chunk of task, switch off everything. Sit at a proper place where you can concentrate. No mobile, no other tabs, no TV, no music should be on. Just ask them to concentrate. Now, see, I don't want to go into the details. Some children also study very well with music on. So, that is a different kind of scenario that can have another discussion. But usually they should be able to concentrate, so they should be sitting at a place where they're able to concentrate, and they can, where they can avoid all distractions. Add rewards and incentives, as many of you said that appreciation is must. Rewards, even a small toffee, I tell you, whether it is an 8th grader or a 6th grader or a 3rd grader, you give them a small toffee for completing one chunk of their work and reporting it to you. I mean, they get as if they have got the treasure of the world. So children get very happy even with the smallest thing that they get from their teachers. So keep those little incentives ready with you all the time. Practice daily till you develop a habit. So, all these 7 steps are for you to guide to your children. Take out 3 to 4 minutes in your sessions where you can repeat these steps to them, especially in those subjects where you find that children procrastinate a lot. So, they need to practice all these 5 things daily, so that slowly and steadily they develop a habit of it. Now, next, what according to you are the 2 important skills that children should work on to avoid procrastinating? Any 2 important things that you feel that they need to develop to avoid procrastinating? We talk of so many study skills. So, here I'm specifically talking about study skills, that which 2 study skills you think they should practice and develop in themselves so that they can avoid procrastinating. Okay, positivity. Somebody, Soumya says positivity. Staying curious. Okay. Reading from any material and interacting, reading and writing skills, make the topic interesting, set some rules and direction, classroom management. Savita Rajesh says concentration. Okay, Sunaya, all right, I'll just, can you see my slide now? I don't know. Okay, yeah. These are the first three steps. That is, set clear, achievable, realistic goals, prioritize your tasks, use unpacking technique, set time limits. You can take a screenshot. All right. Thank you, everybody, for your beautiful answers that you are pouring in. Yeah. So, what the two important skills? See, when we talk of procrastinating, is one thing is that we are, one thing is when we miss prioritizing, right? Second thing is when we do not manage our time. So, these are the two important skills besides what you all have mentioned, that is also correct. So these are the two important skills which we need our children to practice. One is prioritizing, another is time management. Now, how can you develop the skill of prioritizing, or how can you give your children the practice of prioritizing their assignments or their tasks? So there are two methods for the same. One is the Ivy Lee method, right? So it is a very simple method, and it goes like this. So what children have to do, they have to write down 6 important tasks for the day. Arrange the tasks from most important to the least important. Then start working down on your list in order. And if suppose out of 6 tasks they are only able to complete 4 tasks that particular day, then they will move the unfinished task to the next day. This is just a method of organizing and prioritizing their tasks, that what they have to complete when. This method can be used for younger children, and they can easily manage doing this with your guidance. So that's what I was telling you. You can ask them to prioritize their tasks for a day, and then start arrange those tasks from the most important to the least important. For example, there are 3 works: mathematics, science, and English. So mathematics submission is tomorrow, science submission is day after, and English submission is day after tomorrow. So you are not going to prioritize their work for them. You are asking them to prioritize according to their submission dates. This is just one factor, that is submission date, right? There can be multiple factors how they have to prioritize their work. I'm just giving an example here. So then let them list down their tasks as such, and then let them start working on it. So when they start working on it, they are working on one task at a time, right? So here is where we call the first step, that is setting clear, achievable, realistic goal. Means they have to complete their maths work on priority for tomorrow. Then they will work on science. Then they will work on English. So in this way, they are not burdened also, and they are able to segregate their tasks in chunks and complete them properly with concentration, without any hustle or delay. Next important method is Eisenhover Matrix. It is again, this works well for elder children, like from grade 9 or 8 onwards. You can give this kind of template to them and ask them to schedule their tasks accordingly. The first quadrant says urgent and important. So you can see that there is urgent, not urgent, important, not important. So the first quadrant here says urgent and important. So they will list the tasks which are urgent as well as important, and they will do it, focus on these tasks first. Second quadrant says schedule it, means these kind of tasks are not urgent, but these are important. So decide a time to get it done. So what they can do, they can schedule these tasks. The third quadrant says urgent but not important. So what they can do is they can delegate it. Like, suppose you have given them a group project to do. So it's not important that one child has to do all the 5 things. So what he can do is he can delegate the work to his fellow friends. It is urgent, it has to be presented tomorrow only, but we can delegate it and do in bits so that we can put it together tomorrow and present in the classroom. The last quadrant says not urgent, not important. So there may be certain things which are not urgent also, not important also. So this is where children will list those things which they say do not do list. Means they have to list these things where they may not do those things on priority as the other 3 quadrants are listed in. I hope these 2 strategies are clear. So these 2 strategies we have discussed here is about prioritizing. The first one is the Ivy Lee method, which is a simple method for children to prioritize their tasks. And this is Eisenhover Matrix, which I told you that it can help the elder kids to work on prioritizing their tasks, which involves a bit of more regulation and more understanding of the terms urgent and important, not urgent and not important, urgent and not important, right? So this way they can manage. Next important aspect, as I told you, is the time management. If you are able to manage your time well, that means you are able to accomplish your set goals. Now, what is the meaning of Pomodoro? Can anybody tell me? What does the word Pomodoro stands for? What does the word Pomodoro stands for? Anybody having any idea? Okay. So Pomodoro, it is an Italian word for tomato. So there was this person, this technique was discovered by Mr. It was discovered by Mr. Francisco Cirillo. He was a student when he was a university student. So he used a Pomodoro timer actually, for which and this technique took the name after that. So the time intervals in between were called as Pomodoros, right? So and the technique took the name after that, that is the Pomodoro technique. Now how does it work? Yes, somebody says working for a short period, sauce made from tomatoes. Okay, a time management method. Yes, Pomodoro, I was just asking the literal meaning of it. So it is, Pomodoro means it's an Italian word for tomato. Now, how does it work? The first step for this technique is decide on the task that you need to do. First, decide which task you want to do. Work on that task until the timer rings. Now, for how much time you are setting that timer? That is 25 minutes. Okay. Now, after 4 cycles, you have to take 15 to 30 minutes break. But after every cycle, you can take how many minutes break? So you have to take sorry, I jumped to step 5. I'm so sorry. So first step is decide on the task that you need to do. Then set timer to 25 minutes. Work on the task until the timer rings. Take a short break of 5 minutes. And then after 4 cycles, take a 15 to 30 minutes break. So try this technique and I guarantee you that this technique works magic for those who really follow it religiously. It's a beautiful technique to work within the given time limit, because see, what acts as a motivation for the child to work like this is these small 5 minutes breaks. Like in 5 minutes, take a short break, have a sip of juice, or I mean drink a glass of juice, maybe just watch your quick favorite shots on YouTube, or just listen to your most favorite song in those 5 minutes, you know. So set different rewards. It's for your own self. Guide your children to do this. Tell your children that they should set these 5 minute जो break है उसका जो rewards हैं, they should set those rewards for themselves and let the reward be different every time. You see, a person gets self motivated, self regulated, and gets self rewarded. So this is a very nice technique of time management which you can guide your children to do, and also you can practice the same in your classrooms. Try it once in your classrooms and I guarantee you that you will see wonderful results. And if you will practice with them in the classroom, they will definitely try on their own at home, and you will see the difference, especially for those children who needs quick breaks. They cannot concentrate for longer periods of time. This technique work wonders. So please give it a try. I personally recommend this technique to all of you. I hope this technique is clear to everyone. Now, so this was the time management technique that we discussed. So we discussed that we need to we need to guide our children to set their priorities, and then how to manage their time while working. Now let's talk about some drawbacks. We have talked about what is procrastination. We have talked about what factors lead to procrastination. Then what are the important skills that our children need to develop, and the stepwise guide that they need to follow to avoid this habit of procrastinating. Now actually why we are working towards um, overcoming this habit of procrastination, right? So we need to look at what can be the major drawbacks. So the drawbacks are that deep learning is affected because deep learning involves making new neural connections. So until and unless you are practicing, you are concentrating, you are focusing, your deep neural connections, your deep learning, or we can say the concepts will not go into your long term memory. It will only stay in your short term memory, which is a temporary memory, and the child won't be able to retain that information for a longer period of time and won't be able to perform. So this is one of the major drawback of procrastination. Second is students get frustrated because when they have to work in the last minute, they may miss out on resources, they may miss out on the time, they may miss out on all kind of creativity that they could have done in that task. They have to rush through the work and they cannot give their best performance. So that leads to frustration, that leads to rush, which is again it leads to a lot of hustle in their mind, and they become more demotivated with this act, right? Well, after all this big discussion, what you can do, what else we can do to help them overcome this? First thing is, as many of you said, very rightly said, that break the assignments into parts, provide intermediate incentives to students on the completion of the given task. Please, as I told you, children get very much motivated by your little acts of rewards that you give them. So even your very good, shabash, excellent, a small toffee, a small chocolate will do wonders for them. So do it. Create to-do lists with students. Sit with them and help them create their own to-do lists. Guide them to organize their work by prioritizing. As we have already discussed two techniques, you can more work on it and develop your own ways how you can help your children to prioritize their work. Hold students accountable. As I said, it is very important. Please don't try to be children, try to be their facilitator, sorry, mentor and guide, and help them become accountable for their failures, for their hard work, for their achievements, right? And hope this will work, and I hope this whole session will help you guide your students who procrastinate a lot. That's all from my side. If you have any questions, you are most welcome to ask the same. Harsha, I would need your help here to let me know what questions participants want to ask.
Yes, ma'am. Definitely, ma'am. Definitely. We'll give a minute's time for them to type in their questions, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, there is a question by Sunaina, ma'am. In the
Yes,
5 minute break, what you spoke about, ma'am, won't
yes,
students get distracted if they use the device to watch the video or etc.?
yes. See, when I talk of 5 minutes break, it means they have the timer set for 5 minutes. It should be 5 minutes. Only five after that 5 minutes break, they have to go back to their 25 minutes timer. This is what we need to train them for. So you can, that's what I told you, that make them practice this technique in classroom under your guidance, and then let them practice at home, and then get back to you with their feedback, that how they felt about it. 5 minutes means 5 minutes. They are not supposed to take more, more time than that. And then they get back to their work for 25 minutes again. So it's a cycle which goes on. So here the main motive is that after working for with complete focus for 25 minutes, they need a short break. So this is a short break which will help their mind relax. And during that break, whatever information they have got into their mind, that information also gets some time to get into their deep learning or into their long-term memory. I hope that answers your
Thank you for
question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that reply, ma'am. Another teacher, he's asking about what about famishment, ma'am?
Sorry? I
Famishment.
Famishment.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not aware of this. I may have to look
Okay.
up.
I think
Maybe he can ask me in
Sister has got.
simple.
Yes, ma'am. I think we need to request the teacher to
If
rephrase
you
their.
can please, yeah, please simplify the statement for me. Maybe I'm not aware of this word, famishment. Yes, I can see one question by Jayanti Rajagopalan. Sir, uh, I would be very happy to help you if I come across any support plan for senior students. I told you that you can ask them to practice prioritizing technique, which is Eisenhover technique, and they can follow Pomodoro technique for setting up their for practicing time management. But as you're asking for special needs children, I'm so sorry, I'm not a special needs educator, but I would love to get back to you on this if I find a resource. So I can note it down and I'll get back to you for this particular question. For senior students, there are, you can make them practice Eisenhower and the Pomodoro technique for time management.
Ma'am, it is what about punishment, ma'am? I think there is a typo error by the teacher.
Okay,
Yes,
no, okay, no. What is punishment? Acha, all right. No, 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 no. See in today's education, we do not use the word punishment. Instead, you can use the word penalty, right? Punishment is a very discouraging word for any child to bear. So we can set penalties with them, and that also you can rule with them only. You can set those penalties with the child only. That, okay, you told me that you will submit your work by tomorrow, but if in case you're not able to submit, what we should do? Maybe you ask him to join the lunch break 5 minutes late. Maybe you ask him to join, not to go for the sports session. Maybe you ask him to cut down on his library session. So these are just penalties, and not, it doesn't appear as a punishment or as a disgrace to student. So next time when he or she feels that I am being cut down on my enjoyment areas in the school, if I don't complete my work, the child will work on it. I'm pretty sure about it, and I have worked it through. So I'm talking out of my experience. Otherwise, punishments don't work. Instead, children take it very, in other way, and they get used to of taking punishments. So please don't punish. You can decide penalties with them.
Ma'am, there is one more question, ma'am. We
Hmm.
have still a few more minutes. As you
Hmm.
know, syllabus are very lengthy. Then how we
Hmm.
can manage these? That is one of the teacher is asking.
See, again, if the syllabus is lengthy, so, but in any case, we need our children to cover the concepts, right? So, I would request you to be more creative at your part and give it a thought that how you can cover your syllabus in such a way that you are covering all the important aspects of the topics and also making them complete the assignments. So, and if you look into NEP 2020, the policy also suggests that every subject should be integrated with other subject areas, right? So, you can always bring in the concepts of two, three subject areas into that one particular assignment of yours, whether you are a science teacher or mathematics teacher, and let the children have exposure to all the different kinds of subjects. And also, your work is getting done. So design your assignments in such a way which adds value to their writing skills, their learning skills, their what do we say? Wherein they can think critically, they are thinking creatively, and also they are completing their work. So if we will simply give them long, written, boring assignments, that won't work because child is not able to retain that much of information. Instead, what you can do is you can ask them to make graphic organizers, mind maps, concept maps, which again, because if they have to make a concept map, if they have to make a mind map, they have to go through the whole thing, so if they are writing it in concept map, all the points are covered, you will definitely get to know that child has gone through this portion, that's why he is able to write all these points, right? So basically you have to design your assignments in such a way that your syllabus gets covered, and very creatively and critically the child is completing critical thinking and creative thinking, the child is able to complete the tasks in your subject.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that reply. One more query by Tanu, ma'am. She's asking what should we do with pre-primary students?
Pre-primary students are very much fun. So see, with pre-primary students, most of the institutions nowadays, they work on more activity based learning, more experiential learning, wherein you are making them learn by using their body, hands, kinesthetically. I would say, if we talk about technical terms, so kinesthetic learning is more when we talk of pre-primary children. So more you make them feel and experience, and orally when you talk to them, when you speak to them, and when you elicit the answers from them, again, see, for you must have observed, in general, you must have observed that I do a lot with small children. I personally do it a lot. Whenever I encounter a small child and he or she is able to respond at an age, just say 3 4 years old, so I keep asking them questions, किसी भी टॉपिक पे I keep asking them questions, and it's beautiful that they keep replying you also. The same technique you try to use with them in your classrooms. Of course, there are set syllabus, there are themes that you have to cover in an year with them, but for pre-primary children, it is more about kinesthetic engagement of their practical experiential engagement with them, instead of writing or just listening. It should be talking, it should be visual listening. Even if you are showing them something, if you want them to listen to something, show them visuals, show them videos, right? And where they can listen and also speak. So this is what you should do with pre-primary children. It should be more experiential, more hands-on, and more moving around, more talking around. It should be like that. Playway types. I mean, the role plays, the playways, learning centers are there, right? So in this way.
Yes, thank you, Navpreet ma'am, for delivering such an engaging and informative session for our teacher community and also for clarifying their queries. Without a doubt, this session has provided our teachers with valuable insights and key learnings that will undoubtedly spice up their teaching journey without allowing any room for procrastination. A big thank you to all the participants for your active engagement. To stay updated and to register for upcoming webinars, please visit my center. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Shireen, for giving
Thank
me
you,
such
ma'am.
a wonderful platform to express my views and thoughts. And I thank all the people, those who joined this webinar. My heartfelt gratitude and a big thank you to all of you. Thank you so much.
We are grateful to you as well, ma'am. Yeah, thank you.